That we are YouTube live. Let me turn all the lights on, and they are on. They are. Okay, and let me turn on our time here. Starting a little late, so we'll go over a couple minutes. That's all right. Okay. So let's start out. Grab your pads, put them next to the mat. I didn't turn this around so I can see it. There we go. Alright, and we're going to come down to hands and knees. Knees about as wide as your mat to start, not quite out onto your pads yet. Tops of the feet toward each other. And let's start out trying to come onto your knuckles. Bend your fingers back. There you go. Feel stretching the fingers? Good. And then drop it down. Other side. Stretch your fingers back. Okay. Try to send the wrist forward. Drop it down. Now let's come to elbows. Try to make that same stretch happen by tenting your wrists up. Keep the knuckles down. So it's not fingers touching, knuckles up. It's knuckles down with wrists in the air. Yep, you got it. Other wrist up too. Elbow down. Good. So once the knuckles touch down, fingers are grabbing the mat. You can kind of walk elbows forward with knuckles still down to tent the wrists higher and stretch more. Yeah. Feel that? Good. Knees should be back far enough so they're a little behind your hips. Elbows just a little in front of your shoulders. Okay. Good. Hey, feet. All right, go ahead and sit back just a little bit. Drop the head so it's in line with the spine. Don't drop it all the way down. And then you'll feel your knuckles want to pop off the mat. Now start shifting your weight forward. Try to push down through the knuckles a little bit more. Keep the weight coming forward so you feel the knuckles heavier into the mat. Same movement we always do now. Can you push down through elbows to bring your ribs up in the shoulder blades? And then drop the ribs back down in the shoulder girdle. A little different with the hands like this. Push through elbows, bring the ribs up. Drop back down. Make sure you're not pulling with the back and hips. You're pushing with the elbows and the knuckles. And then drop back down. One more time. Push down. Drop all the way down. Good. Now sit back. Keep the belly drop. Keep the knuckles into the mat. Try to keep the elbows on the mat. Keep your thumbs reaching toward each other. And then pull with your elbows. Pull with your knuckles. Try to feel the serratus, the muscles under the armpit, on the ribs as you come forward. Good. Now see if you can lift that right elbow off the mat a little bit. Good. Keeping the wrist forward. Pick the left elbow up too if you can. Much harder. There we go. Now pull your ribs up in the shoulder blades. Keep elbows reaching down. And then drop the ribs back down, belly back down. Try that again. A lot of control there. Pull the ribs up, shoulder blades spreading. There you go. And drop back down. Good. Now push through the hands to come up. Keep wrists shoved forward a little. And then shift your weight forward. Thumbs pulling in. Inner spiral your arms so biceps face in. Push through the knuckles to really push the mat away and bring your ribs back in the shoulders. Good. Now drop the ribs forward. Head dropping down into shoulder blades. Do it again. Push the mat away. Ribs come back. Lift your low belly a little. Don't squeeze the glutes forward though. Let hips release. And then keeping the head dropped, drop the chest back into the shoulder blades. Good. Go ahead and put your hands flat now. You should be pretty awake. Yeah? Good. It's different, right? Yeah. That should be a little wake-up call for your hands so they're ready to work. Okay, let's hop your knees in. Tuck the toes. Push back through your right foot, keeping the toes tucked. Try to keep the toes stuck to the mat, heel passing the toes. So you're not in a full long plank. You're actually going to get the foot stuck to the mat earlier than that. Good. Keeping that. Hands are a little in front of your shoulders so that you can push yourself back, heel dropping back past the toes. And then let that right hip release. Don't open it up to the right. Let it drop down. Drop chest into the shoulder blades. And then press through the hands to bring the ribs up. Let the right hip hang. Lift your low belly. Drop back down. Last one like that. Push through hands to pick up ribs. Don't pull it back. Now keep it like that. Pressing through the hands. Try to reach your hips back. Keep the neck long. The left knee will come up off the mat. Good. Right heel really reaching for the ground. Good. Breathe. Spread your fingers out. The fingers should be active, holding onto the mat. Come forward just a little bit, so you're half plank. Drop into the shoulder blades, then push the mat away. Pick the ribs up. Drop into the shoulder blades. Push the mat away. Pick the ribs up. Good, and then come back down. Good, bring that leg in. Tuck the toes. Switch, push the left leg back, toes catching on the mat, ball of the foot stuck to the mat, heel behind the toes. Good. Let your hips release, let your belly drop, let your ribs slide down in the shoulders. You should feel shoulders slide together behind the ribs. Then press through the knuckles of your hands and the fingertips. Really press the floor away to pick your ribs up. Don't use hips, let the hips release. Then drop back down. Do it again. Really press the floor away, stretching the muscles in the back. If you're trying to pull up with the muscles in the back, they won't stretch. Push with hands, pull with the chest and ribs. Think of your biceps as rolling in toward each other and hugging in toward each other to engage your chest. And let that go, drop back down. Last one, bring the ribs up. Pressing through the hands, hips reach back until that right knee comes up off the mat, left heel toward the mat. Don't dump your head back. Keep the back of the neck long, in line with the arms are in front of them. Keep that left heel dropping back and breathe. Good, now come forward just a little bit. Drop into the shoulder blades. Feel them come together behind the ribs, and then push the mat away, pick it up. Do it again, drop into shoulder blades. Push mat away, pull your ribs up. One more time, drop into shoulder blades. Push mat away. Now take your hips back, ribs back. Try to get the ribs all the way to that right thigh. And then come back, forward and down. Good. You feeling that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, getting that movement going. Okay, let's turn your right hand backwards. Left hand is forward. Your fingers should line up so that the wrist and fingertips are on one line. Wrist and fingertips are on one line at the top and bottom of each hand. If it's too much in the hand that's backwards, bring it back further. If it's too much in the hand in general, turn your hand back the other way. We're going to do the same thing we just did. Tuck your toes. Walk the knees back a little. Press back through your right foot. It's the right hand that's backwards. Push down to pick your ribs up. And then drop the ribs back down. Let your hip drop. Let the belly drop. Do it again. Push through hands. They won't want to in this stretch. And then drop back down. Last one. Push through hands. Hold. Send your hips back till your knee lifts. Stretch from the right hip and heel all the way to the right wrist. Now, take your hips over to the left. Let your left knee go right a little bit. Just a touch. And bring it back. Pull it back down. Good. How we doing? That was pretty good.
It's hard.
Yeah, you're okay when you did that. Roll back slow. Keep the knuckles bending. And then come to the knuckles like this. Don't tuck fingers in and squish them. Keep them flat. Good. I'm surprised you did that. That was okay. Did you do it?
Yeah, a little.
Flatten out the hand. Okay, flip the left hand backwards. Again, if it's too much stretch, bring it back. Here's another little intermediate way. We'll just do as a kind of intermission here. Bring your left hand back closer to you and your right hand forward. Try to have your left hand equidistant between your right hand and the knees. Okay? Then send your weight, open the knees a little. Send your weight forward into the right hand until you can flatten the base of your left hand into the mat. Spread across the knuckles and the fingers. Really keep the hand engaged like you're spreading it, sending energy out through the left fingers. Okay, keep the weight in the right hand too. Then pull your elbow back, trying to bend backwards a little without letting the base of the hand lift. Watch that part of your wrist stretch. Good. You feel that? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then bring it back to straight. Do that again. Peel it back. This time, keep the knuckles heavy. Keep your elbow low and peel all the way back to knuckles. Good. And then come back forward. Good. So that's kind of an intermediate way to do the hands. This extra weight and leaning past it lessens that degree of flexion a little bit, lets you get it flat, and then you pull back just by bending. You have more control. All right, good. Let's go into the full movement. Knees hip width. Fingers and wrists line up if possible. If not, bring it back a little. And if that's not going to happen, just turn it back around. Do it the way we did it a minute ago. Okay? Tuck all the toes. Push your left foot back. Heel passing the toes. Your hands are out in front of you enough to push it back. Push down through the hands to pick up your wrists. Let the hips release. Drop back down the shoulders. Do it again. Push down. Pick up the ribs. And drop it back down. Last one. Push the ribs away. Spread shoulders. Hold. Hips go back. Left heel reaching back away from that left wrist. Gonna drop your hips over to the right. Right knee goes across your center line to the left a little bit. Reach that hip away. Reach out of your left ribs. And come back down. Good job. Roll it back. Come to knuckles. Good. How are we doing? Stay on the knuckles, keep toes tucked, but knees a little further apart. Keep your thumbs right out in front and your fingers are long. Don't break that first knuckle. Okay. Press down through your knuckles to bring your ribs up high. Lift low belly a little bit. Sit back just a touch. Let your glutes release. Don't squeeze sitting bones together. And then lift your low belly back further. Good. Now keep the pressure in your knuckles, keeping ribs up there, but let your hips release back. Then let your ribs drop all the way down into the shoulder blades. Sink the ribs, sink the chest, drop the head. One more time. Push through the knuckles. Don't pull with the back to bring your ribs up. Then sit back just a touch. Let your hips drop under, keeping ribs up. Lift your belly up into the back of the rib. And then let hips release. Then let your head drop, chest drop, ribs slide down into shoulders. Good. And flatten out the hands. How we going? Let it? All right, good. Let's take the knees as wide as the mat, or wider than the mat, as wide as you can, I should say. Toes toward each other. And then sit back on the inside of the feet. If you can't touch the feet, that's okay. Sit back however far you can. Good. And you're inside those heels. Now keeping your hips back, hands out in front, spread your fingers out a lot. Really engage the hands and bring it down. Try to feel these knuckles, the ones right at the top of the palm, heavy in the mat. Go back to picking the wrists up and bring the elbows to the mat forward. Keep that pressure in the wrist or in the knuckles. Keep your thumbs reaching toward each other. Push through your elbows to bring your ribs back. Drop your chin and suck your belly back, rounding up. Then go the other way. Try to keep your hips back there. Keep your glutes released. Don't squeeze glutes forward against that. Let them go. And then let ribs come forward again, hips releasing. Do that again. Press with elbows, spread your shoulders, pull ribs back. Don't squeeze your glutes though. Let your hips release towards your feet. And then come back forward. Spine grows forward, chest grows forward. Good. Flatten out the hands. Press down through hands. Keep shoulders down away from ears. Feel your serratus underneath the armpit against the ribs. And then pick your elbows up. Good. Now bend the elbows till they hover right above the mat. Press into the tops of the feet to come forward. Don't let your elbows touch down. Keep them hovering. Good. You should feel triceps right away. Hold. Spread your fingers. Now pull the ribs up by pushing down with hands. Elbows reach down as ribs come up. Good. Hug your heels in toward each other. Pull your knees in. Suck your belly up to the ceiling. Let your head drop. Hold. 4. Now let all that go. Heels come out. Knees pull out. Hips sweep back. Chest drops into shoulder blades, but elbows stay off the ground. One more time. Hug elbows in. Push through hands. Lift low belly. Pick your ribs up high. And then unround. Hips release. Ribs drop into shoulder blades. Let your elbows rest on the mat. Good job. You guys feel triceps? Back of the arm. Okay. Bring your elbows wide. Keep your hips back as far as they'll sit. Hands are going to make a little triangle with your thumbs and index fingers. Elbows make a diamond, I guess. Keep your elbows pushing you back, but keep your ribs open. Try to let the ribs drop toward the mat. Breathe. Yeah, you can put your chin down if you want to. Keep pressure down in your elbows to find your serratus, and then reach the collarbones forward a little bit. Breathe. Now press down through elbows. Bring your chest further forward onto the mat and bring the belly further forward. It doesn't have to touch down, but you want to let it sit. Walk your elbows further out in front. Good. Keep a little pressure in the elbows. Turn your feet out to frog. Further. Turn all the way out. Good. Both of you come a little further forward. Good. That's it. And let the chest touch down.
Did I put a bolster under me?
Come further forward until your chest touches down. It will at some point. There you go. You there? You good?
Yep.
Now, keep your chest touched down. I'll come back more to where you guys are. Keep your chest touched down and really reach out of the front of your shoulder. It's a very modified knees, chest, chin. See how far you can reach out of the front of the shoulder, stretching the chest. Reach the chin forward too, like you're going to snake through that. Breathe. Feel the chest in your chest? Yep. Good. Your chest gets anchored to the mat and you're trying to walk your shoulder blades further off the ribs. And then bring hands back next to you. Elbows hug in, roll shoulders forward to touch the ground. Then roll them back. Pull the elbows in. Do it again. Roll shoulders forward to touch the ground. Roll them back, pull elbows in, and push your hands to pick yourself up. Good job. Now try to drop your hips forward as far as you can towards your hands. Get rid of that hip crease. Good. Walk your hands further forward. Keep going.
I think that's it for the hips.
Okay. Push in the hands to pick ribs up. Pull the low belly up. Good. And hop the knees in. There we go. Or bring them in one at a time.
No hopping.
No hopping. All right. Hands out in front. Spread the fingers out. Tuck your toes. Press back into down dog. Good. Hips warmed up a little bit.
Oh, that feels good.
All right, keep the fingers spreading. Yeah, it's good when you come to down dog and you're happy about it. Get the knuckles flat. I don't want to see any bubbling knuckles off the mat. Those knuckles by your palms should be engaged. Try to pick your right wrist up. There you go. Now get your knuckles down. Good. Now bring it back down. Keep the knuckles on the mat. That's what holds you. Fingers and knuckles. Bring your left wrist up. Keep the knuckles on the mat. Bring it back down. Fingers and knuckles hold you. Now push your ribs back away from the shoulder blades. There we go. Good. Let your heels drop. Okay, bring your left leg straight back. Inner spiral your left leg so your left knee faces right. Okay. There you go. Left knee faces right. Bend your right knee. Bring your ankle forward. Heel comes up. And really reach back with your left leg, left low belly. Don't open that hip. Keep it down. Good. Roll the right heel back down again. Roll the heel down. Do it again. Keep reaching back through your left leg, inner spiraling it so the knee faces right. Don't let it open. Then bend the right knee. Pull forward. Really work that foot. Come on. Bend the knee. Ankle forward. Get it up. There we go. And bring it back down. One more time. Bend the knee. Ankle comes up. Use your foot. Get that top of your ankle forward. There we go. And pull back down. Good. Now keep the heel down. Roll the hip open. Drop your chest back. Good. And bring it back in. Bend your knee into the chest and keep your hips back. Good. Hold. Keep your heel pulled up to your sitting bone. Pull your left knee straight out to the left. Straight out to the left. And roll all the way up. Try to point the knee to the ceiling. Keep the heel into your butt. And then roll back down. Take your knee across your center. You're rotating around the right hip. Do it again. Roll the knee all the way up to the ceiling. Open, open, open. And then all the way back down underneath the hip. Good. And bring the knee to the ground. Come on down.
How we doing?
Knees wide. Hands forward. Push your ribs back. Suck your belly back. Sit back as long as you can. Core pulling you back. You should have a rounded, lifted feeling. And then sit all the way back. Hands unwillingly sliding back on the mat. Breathe. Just a little more strength work. You got it. To come up, I want you to pull the shoulders down into the mat to feel your serratus, those little muscles along the sides of the ribs. And then pull down with your hands, push down the tops of the feet, come up with straight arms. Pull from your shoulders to come forward. Yep, do it again. Keep the pull in your serratus when you sit back. Don't just let the shoulders pop up. Suck the core back, ribs back, but keep shoulders down. And then sit all the way back. Get longer in your core. Okay, to come up, spread fingers, knuckles into the mat. Fingers sending energy out through each finger. Pull down with palms, pull back with shoulders until you feel the serratus, those muscles under the armpits. Push into the tops of the feet, suck the belly up. Pull with your serratus to come forward. Good job. Let hips drop into their stretch, keeping ribs up, pushing forward. And then bring it back. Good, knees come back in. Side, two. Tuck your toes. Press back into down dog. When you press into your down dog, let's talk about that first. Keep your ribs just a little bit up in the shoulder blades. Then let your hips drop back a little, lift your low belly. So don't keep a big dip in your low back for right now. Okay? Keeping the ribs lifted like that, when you push back, it's almost like your ribs push your hips back, your hands pushing the mat away. Ribs come a little out of shoulder blades. And then instead of really pinching your hip crease to reach hips up, think of pulling through low belly and stay a little lifted out of your low belly as you reach the hips back. Okay, now let's bring, we're going right leg back, right leg straight back. Let's play with that rib cage concept. Bring your knee into your chest, ribs come forward, Now the ribs, push your knee back, hip back, reach the leg back. When the knee comes in, feel ribs pop up and come forward, then push it back. Good, you guys feel that a little? Bring the knee in, it pushes ribs forward. Push the leg back with your ribs, good. Now inner spiral right leg so your knee faces me. Good. Keep reaching out of the right low belly. That's it. Now bend your left knee. Use the foot to pick up that heel and bring it forward, but keep right leg reaching back. Good. Roll down through the heel. That's it. Do that again. Bend the knee. Reach it forward. Come on. Keep that right hip back. And bring it down. Last one. Bend the knee forward. Keep it down, or bring it back down. Roll the right hip open. Drop your chest into the mat. Good. Bring the knee in. Keep the hips back. Good. Heel hooks into the tailbone, into the sitting bone. Roll it all the way open. Try to twist to the right. And then roll it all the way and bring it underneath. Twist left. All the way up and open. Twist through the core. Roll all the way underneath. Suck the belly in. Roll it up. Twist all the way underneath. So you're looking under that left armpit. And come back down. Good. Working? Okay. Go ahead and sit back. Push. Alright, so let's see how wide you can take your knees. The feet are going to inch toward each other, heels back a little. Sit down between the feet. Yeah. If you can't sit on the floor between your feet here, you have to sit on something. So get a block. Get it should be a hard surface too, not a bolster. Yep. You want your sitting bones on it. Sitting bones on it. You can have the whole, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we're going to learn how to move through your pelvic bowl a little bit, and you're going to use your own hands to do what I do in your privates, kind of helping you release certain muscles. So take your hands, this little part of your hand right here is what's going to touch your muscles. That scared me. What is that? Alright. That is a hilarious room. This part of the hand right here is going to come to the arc of your leg with your thumb back. Okay? This part of the hand where the index finger is on your hip flexor, the muscle that pulls your leg to your body or your body to your leg here. This one is on your medial glute, the massive muscle on the outside of your hip. I want you to use your thumb like you're pushing that little massive muscle back, away from your own bone structure. Push that back a little bit to sit down a little deeper into your hips. Feel that? Not so far here, more back. Now push it back. Yeah, almost like if you're like popping a pimple or something, you're trying to push the muscle, massage it away from the pelvic bowl. Yep, feel that? Good, now roll your shoulders forward and also feel your shoulder blades roll up and over the ribs. So if you don't know what that feels like, touch the shoulders with your hands and round them up and forward, elbows reach up and forward. Yeah, feel how that opens your back? Okay, put your hands back here, make that same motion up and forward. Keep the medial glute pushed away. Low belly sucks back. Think Mula Bandha, zipping up, up, into that space you made in the back of the ribs by rolling up and forward. Keep that. Now pull your knees apart and you'll feel that muscle where your thumbs are flexed a little bit. Roll forward, heavy on the sitting bones. Those bones in the base of the buttocks have to still be touching your surface. Once you come forward, make sure those hip flexors are released where the index finger is. And then roll shoulders back. Lift your low belly. Now go the other way. Pull knees in. Feel the thumb muscle release, the medial glute release. Suck the low belly back. Push the medial glute back and sit into the hips. Good. You feel that? Okay. Do it again. Roll the shoulders up and forward, elbows forward. That should pull shoulder blades up and make some space in your upper back. Lift the belly into that space you made a little bit. Don't flex hip flexors at all. Pull knees open. That should engage medial glutes. Stay heavy on your sitting bones when you roll forward. Keep low belly lifted. Once you're forward, keep those hip flexors released. And roll shoulders back. Lift chin a little to lift your belly out of ribs. Just a little. Don't crunch the neck. Then roll shoulders up and forward. Hug the knees in to release medial glute. Push the medial glute away with thumbs. Suck your low belly back and sit into that space you just made in the back of the pelvic bowl. Good. How are we doing? Feeling it? Yeah? Okay, last one. Roll the shoulders up and forward, elbows closing forward like you're closing a book. Lift your low belly into that space you made, up into the back of the ribs. Don't squeeze your glutes to do that. pull the knees open to feel medial glutes. Sitting bones are heavy. Keep the low belly lifted as you roll the pelvic bowl forward. Keep those hip flexors released. That's why you're touching them. Good. Then roll shoulders back. Sit heavy in your sitting bones. Go the other way. Roll shoulders up and forward. Lift the low belly. Pull knees in to release medial glute. Push medial glute back. Sit into that space. Good. Guys, feel more room in there? Feel the pelvic bowl able to move through the hips a little bit better? Yeah? All right, good. Let's do, you both on the blocks, you both need blocks. Grab your cord blocks. Do you have them? I'll get them for you. Do you have 2 cord blocks, Jeannie?
I do. So I can sit on the purple maybe?
Yeah, sit on purple.
I might need to sit on the blue actually.
If you're going to sit on the blue, then you're going to use blue for your hands. You got to be at least as high with your hands as you are with the hips. So
That feels better to my feet.
Okay, and grab your other blue. Okay, so back to that position, sitting. Okay. Now you're going to adjust so that your tailbone is under. So your sitting bones are very decidedly aimed forward. They're still open though. You didn't squeeze and close. And then bring your hands back to your mat, or if you're sitting on a block and your hips are elevated, then you have to be elevated back here. Excuse me. If anything, the hands should be higher than the hips. You don't want hips up on a block and then hands back, because then you're just going to arch here. So tail is under, hands are back. If you are holding blocks, the L of your hand is going to cup around the inside of the block, so your fingers are faced a little in, around the corner of the block, I should say. Yeah, good. Okay? All right. Now go ahead and press into your hands till arms are straight. That same rolling we just did, roll through your hips. Then push your hands to open the chest more, rolling shoulders back, sort of toward each other, but more down the ribs, pushing down. Lift chin just enough to open the chest. So you're not crushing the front of the neck, but you're not crushing the back of the neck. It's long. Good. Now let your hips release, but keep the pressure from the hands. Try to feel from the thumb side of the hand through the forearm all the way through the biceps and chest. Then roll shoulders forward, sink ribs into the shoulder blades. Good, keep shoulders rolling forward with arms straight. Then bend elbows out to the side, keep trying to sink your back and round it. If your hands are forward and your elbows go past, that doesn't work, you got no leverage. You're trying to get hands far enough that you can pull the rounded thoracic spine back. Back of the ribs pulling back out of the hips. Good, okay? Press into the hands again until arms are straight. Once the arms are straight, keep pushing down so shoulders slide down the side of the ribs. Then roll through hips, knees pull open, only use medial glute. Don't roll so far that you squish your low back. Roll shoulders back, pushing through hands. Open chin just enough, or open chest just enough. Lift chin. Lift your low belly. Now let your hips release, but keep the chest open, keep the hands. Hips should fall back a little. Then roll shoulders up and over, drop chin in, rounding your back. Good. You should feel nothing in your lumbar spine. You good? Then elbows open. You're trying to pull your shoulder blades wide off the back. Now lean to the right a little bit. Right elbow sliding straight out to the right. Roll the right shoulder back, pulling your right ribs open. Roll left shoulder forward. And then come back to center. Good. Lean into the left arm a little bit. Roll the left shoulder blade back, pull the left ribs open. Good. Bring it back to center. Good. Now think of your spine. Close your eyes if you can. Think of your spine from tailbone all the way up through the thoracic spine. Your upper back is rounded. Try to move your shoulder blade, right shoulder blade back, left shoulder blade forward without disturbing the spine. Shoulder blades migrate around the rib cage. Switch left back, right forward. Right back, left forward. Go back and forth with shoulders. Ribs feel like they're floating. Shoulder blades migrate around them. Let the hips move. So when you bring your left shoulder back, your left hip will move a little. Good. And then stay in the middle. Roll left shoulder back, right shoulder forward again. Now bend your left elbow. Drop that shoulder away from the neck. Collarbone back. And then roll forward. Roll right shoulder back and bend right elbow. Really drop that shoulder back, elbow back, away from the neck. And roll forward. Now do that with both. Both shoulders roll back. Top of the head forward. Pull the core in, push with hands. And roll back forward. Good. Bring it all the way up. How we doing? If your low back is at all arched here, you're crushing the low back and the back of the hips. You need to be sitting higher so your pelvic bowl can roll back. This should be rounded the whole time. You good? Nothing in low backs? Okay, obviously we feel this stretch. If your feet are getting crushed, sit higher. All right, one more set here. We're going to come back. Tail is under. This time, keep the hand on the block. Bring your right arm across to your left leg. Yep. Okay, go ahead and press until the arm in the back is straight. And then keep pressing until your shoulder blade comes down the ribs. Then let that go, let your shoulder come to the ear. The hard part is keeping tricep engaged so the arm stays straight. Push down to bring the shoulder down. Sink back into it. Good, now once you're sunk, bend the elbow. Keep these ribs hanging back in a rounded way. Then very softly twist, bring your right elbow up and over, right shoulder blade up and over. And then untwist, come back up. Push through the hand to come up. Switch. Right hand back. You feel that rounded twist? So it's not engage the back and twist from the back. That's just going to hurt you. All right, left arm comes around. Think about your shoulder blade coming up and over. So if you need help feeling that, hand on the shoulder head, roll the shoulder up and over till your hand faces down. That's what this elbow is doing. It's coming up and over to open those ribs. Okay, push through the right arm. Keep pushing down until shoulder drops down. Then sink into the shoulder blade. Shoulder should slide up the ribs. Push down until shoulder slides down. Then sink into it. One more, push down. Sink into it. Staying sunk, bend the elbow back, pulling those ribs back. Good, now roll your shoulder a half roll back. Open your left elbow up and over. Turn the head a little, twisting from the belly, from inside the ribs, inside the belly. And come back out of it. Come all the way up. All right, walk the hands forward slowly. Coming out of that big knee stretch, foot stretch. Come forward. How we doing? Feel the knees? Yeah. Okay. Stay here. See how wide you can let your knees go. Toes toward each other and sit back toward the heels. Stretching the groin. And then press yourself forward. One more time. Sit back, hips toward heels. Try to press the ankles into the floor. Press yourself forward. See if you can bring elbows right under you. Press down through the elbows to pick up your ribs. Good, hold. Suck the belly up. Push into the tops of the feet. Can you lift your knees off the floor? There we go. Bring back down. Good, sit down one more time in the hips. And then come all the way forward. Bring the knees in one at a time. Good job. Come back to hands. Good. Tuck the toes. Inner feet touching. Walk your knees back. And then sit back on the feet. Good. How are we doing? Yeah? Feel the feet? How are the knees? Alright. Keep the feet in that stretch. You'd like to have all your toes on the ground. You guys both already have blocks. I'm going to grab my blocks and put them next to me. I'm going to use blocks in a minute. Okay. So, keeping your toes tucked, sitting back on the heels, walking the knees back to try to deepen the stretch in your feet. Okay. Then, go ahead and bring your hands to the mat close to you. Push into the hands to drop your heels back, pick your knees up. Good. Open the knees. Try to get small and fit your body inside your knees. You don't have to be able to get this small, but get in there. Okay? Reach your hands a little forward. Counter reach your hips back. It's okay if heels don't touch down. Just see how far apart those can go. Hands forward, hips back. Open your knees as wide as they'll go, keeping the big toes down on the ground. Suck the belly back. Good. Feel that stretch in the hips. Flex your low back release. Bring it back forward. Now bring the knees back in, arms outside the legs. Bring your hands back close to you. Content fingers. Keep the inner feet touching. Bring your heels up, ankles forward. You should feel like the front of the foot is reaching forward to stretch the toes. Good. Your hips should drop down as much behind the heels as possible. And knees should be aimed up to the ceiling, belly sucked back, and you're trying to get small behind your thighs. To drop back, your heels reach back, your knees drop forward, your body stays heavy on the thighs as your heels drop back. Good. To bring it back up, feel that hinging in the feet. Ankles go forward, toes grabbing the mat, heels forward. Good. Try just, let's see, grab your blocks if you want. You may not need them for balance, but it helps. Okay, you're going to try to drop just the right heel back now. And keep your left ankle forward. And then switch. You can do it without blocks too. Drop your left heel back. Keep the right ankle forward. Really reach through the toe. Bring it back up. Now open the right knee outside the right elbow. How wide can you open that knee? Good. And bring it back in. Left side. Lots of feet here. And bring it back in. Good. Bring your blocks close to you. Okay. The closer they are, the more you can lean into them, the more they'll take weight off the knees. If you don't need that, don't use it. If you're used to the pose where you stand right up out of this, you can go ahead and do that. Holding your blocks, you can shift forward a little, try to drive straight down through that index knuckle to come up halfway. Heels forward, ankles forward, hips back. Good, and push all the way down to come up. Good, how are we doing? So if you have trouble with the knees or you need help, you bring your blocks all the way to you. You really lean into your hands, almost like you're about to push up on parallel bars, and you press the hands to come up. Or use your heels down, stand up. All right, stay high on the ball of the feet. Driving down through the left index knuckle. Pull your right low belly up until the right hip hikes up past the left hip. Still on the ball of the left foot. And then drop the right one back down. Left side, drive down through that index knuckle. Pick up the left hip. Feel that low belly. Drop back down. Right side, drive down through index knuckle. Pick up low belly. Now stay there. But drop your chest back down into shoulder blades. Make sure your back's not trying to come pick up the hip. Bring it back down. Keeping the chest dropped. Pick up the left low belly. Good. Now hold. Drop back down. Stay on the right side. Pick up right low belly. The foot shouldn't swing out or back. It should be right next to the other one. Take your right leg straight out to the right. Good. Now sweep it straight back. Get long. Lower your left heel to the mat slowly. Toes grabbing the mat with that left foot. How far back can you sit into that foot? Good balance. Now bend your left knee when you're as far back as you can go. And then bring it back forward. Cross your right leg over the left as high as you can. If you can do eagle legs, you can wrap the back toes around. You don't have to, just keep it crossed. If you can wrap, wrap. Now sit back as far as you can. Really suck ribs back, low belly back, and sit back. Try to bend the knee and drop your hips low. Good. Feel that stretch in the hips? Breathe. And bring it back up. Uncross the leg, bring it down. How are we doing? Good. Okay, come up onto the ball of both feet. Now instead of lifting the hip or lifting the hip, we're going to drop the right heel down. Focus on your left low belly, left foot, keeping left heel and hip up. And then bring the right heel back up. Drop the left heel down. Focus on keeping right hip up. See how hips stagger right above left. Switch, legs stay straight. Drop the right hip, right heel. Bring it back up. Feel your feet work. Drop left hip, left heel. Bring it back up. Hold. Now drive that index knuckle of the right foot down. Pick up your left low belly, left hip. Take left leg straight out to the left. And then straight back behind you. Slowly lower your right heel, right toes grabbing the mat. Sit back into that stretch as far as you can. Get long. Bend the knee when you can't go any further. And then bring it back. Good. Cross your left leg over your right. Wrap the foot around. You've got to bend the knee to do it. Well, you don't have to, but it helps. Sit back. Suck your belly back and really pull your ribs back out of the shoulder blades. Keep pulling the hips back. Don't squeeze your glutes together. That doesn't work. Let the hips come apart. Really sit down into the stretch. Bend your knee. There we go. Breathe. Let the left leg release for the most part. And bring it back up. Uncross. Good. How are we doing? Good. Bring the feet about mat width to start. Big toes on the mat. Hips reach back. Blocks reach forward. Try to drop your head and neck down through the arms. You should feel like somebody's holding your arms up while your chest hangs down. If you were a little kid and you ever did Superman where somebody pulled your arms up when you're laying on your belly on the floor. Feel a little shoulder stretch there. Good. Let go with your right hand. Reach across for your left ankle. Or knee, whatever you can reach. I mean shin. And then twist. Pull with your right elbow to twist you. Come back to center. Reach across, left hand to the right leg. Pull, bending the elbow. Try to reach your left elbow to the floor. Pull that shoulder blade off the ribs. And back to center. Bring your blocks back to you. Right under the chest. Spread your fingers out. Really engage the hands. Push down through hands to send your ribs up. Let the hips release. Drop the chest. Drop the belly. One more like that. Ribs up. Pushing through hands. Drop back down. Feel shoulder blades move. Okay, now shift your hips to the left. Your ribs will go left a little bit too. This is just an easy shift, and then shift right. Legs stay straight. Good. Feel that just shifting back and forth. Neither hip should shove forward. Keep them both reaching back. Good. Stay in the middle. Turn your left toes out to the left. So your left foot is parallel to the top of the mat, and your heel cuts right through the right arch. Then heel toe your right foot further away. So your feet are perpendicular. Right is forward, left is sideways. Okay? From here, sit into that right hip, really stretching your left groin. If you don't feel a stretch, heel toe your right foot further away. Then once you feel your left groin, the inner thigh stretching, stay there. Okay? Then pull with your left toes into the mat, pull your hips back to the left. Okay? And then go back to the right again. Hold. Bend your right knee, pulling into a deeper stretch in your groin. That's it. Stay there. Keep the left toes on the mat. Ankle has to feel like it's pointing. Left toes are really grabbing the mat. Now try to roll up onto the right ball of your foot. Keep your hips back. Good. Think like Spider-Man, like you're lengthening. Then put that heel back down. Press through the leg. Good. Shift your hips over to the left. Good. Keeping your hips shifted left. Bend your left knee. Try to roll your right foot all the way to the pinky side of the foot. Your inner arch, the inside arch of the foot should bridge up and make a little arc off the ground. So stay down though. Knees should feel like they're pulling apart, and you should feel from groin all the way down to that right foot. Then let your left knee come forward a little. Drop your right hip further back. Reach the hips back. Good. Breathe. You should feel that right foot. See if you can lift your left heel up. Come high into the ball of that foot. And bring it back down. Reach straight and the right. Good job. Okay, good. Turn the left, keep the left toes turned out. Shift your hips to the right. Find that left groin stretch again. Feel that? Okay, turn your right fingers to face in. Bring your left arm across to hold on to either the right ankle, or maybe you're all the way up above the knee, anywhere along that leg. Okay, the higher you hold, the easier the next thing is. We're going to keep your left elbow toward the floor to keep that shoulder blade down the ribs toward the floor, and then shift your hips left. That's it. You should feel those left ribs come out from under that shoulder blade. Shift back to the right. Twist. Do it again. Shift your hips left. Left shoulder shrugs to the ear, chin in, and back to the right. Good. Bring it up. How are we doing? Let's feel the ribs open on that left side. Good. Turn your left toes in. Turn your right toes out. Right heel should cut a line right through the left arch. If I drew a line from one to the other. Okay, let your chest drop into the shoulder blades. Try to let the belly drop, pelvic bowl drop. We worked on that moving earlier. Sit back a little bit. If this turn out and your foot is too much, turn your toes in just a touch. Okay, take your hips over to the left until you feel a groin stretch on the inside of that right leg. Guys feel that? Keep shoulders away from ears. Try to find your serratus, pulling the shoulders back. Bend your left knee. Sit into that stretch. Keep the toes on the ground. Don't let this happen. Toes have to grab the mat. It's an ankle pointing feeling. Stay there. Think Spider-Man. Hips back, arms forward. Ribs forward, shoulders down, butt back. Pull your left heel up, ankle forward. A lot of work in the foot. Good. And then bring it back down. Good. Strong. Straighten that left leg. Now feel like you're sitting into that adductus magnus in your groin muscle. Pull with it. Pull with your right toes to come across to the right of the hips. Legs stay straight. Then go back to the left. Good job. Roll across to the right. Good. Don't shove your left hip forward. Keep it back. Back to the left. One more time. Pull across to the right. Keep the ribs dropped. Back to the left. Now stay right this time. Roll to the right. Bend the right knee out to the right. At the same time, roll out to the left foot. Let me show you. Once you really roll out, this little bridge in the inner foot lifts up. Toes are in the mat, heel is in the mat, the foot's engaged right there, lifting that inner arch. Bending right knee right, left knee feels like it's going left even though it's straight because that foot's rolled out. Now let your right knee come forward a little, drop your left hip back, reach the hips back. Good, feel that left foot working? Pick up the right heel, up and forward with the ankle. Keep sitting bones back, keep your body long. Bring the heel back down, re-straighten the leg. Good, now shift your hips left. Maybe bring your left block closer. Turn left fingers to face in, the inside of the block. Bring your right hand across to the left leg. If you have trouble feeling the ribs open on the other side, hold higher. If you are more flexible, you can hold lower. Okay? Twist first. Doesn't matter where you're holding here, this will be easier. Now, shift your hips to the right, chin in, elbow down to the floor. Should help pull your ribs out from under the shoulder blade here, this opening. Good, and then shift back to the left. Do it again, shift right, pull the hip back to pull the ribs out of the shoulder blade. Shift left. One more time, shift right, find that. You can even bend the right knee to go further. And bring it back up. Good job. Turn the toes in, bring your blocks forward, take them down to the second level. Heels a little wider than toes. Hips drop way back behind you. It's kind of like a down dog, but it's more like your hips are trying to pull back and your hands are trying to stay forward. Drop the head. Breathe. Good. And come back forward over your blocks. It's kind of like a plank, but wide feet. Heels are trying to stay down. Good. Push with hands to bring your ribs up. Bend the knees, hug them in, lift your low belly more without squeezing glutes. And then unround, sitting bones back, legs straight, sit back into your stretch again. Drop the head to the mat or as close to it as you can. Breathe. Bring your hands to the floor. Good. Turn your left fingers to face in. Reach across for your right ankle, or your right hand for your left ankle. And see if you can twist, pull in with the elbow. Now if you're really flexible, you may be able to hip set the feet a little wider and put the back of the head on the floor. If not, you just twist as far as you can. Try to get that right shoulder blade to migrate under the ribs, around to the left by bending the right elbow. Use your left hand, bring the elbow up to twist that rib cage, to that shoulder blade behind the ribs. Breathe. Pick it back up. Good. You guys feel that twist? Now bring the backs. Okay. Take your feet a little wider. Just try it. It's actually easier when you're lower. Okay. Right hand into the mat. Turn fingers to face in. So the point of that is I'm trying to get the shoulder blade to open and these ribs to open a little bit. That's why we're turning in like that. Reach the left arm underneath. Bend your right elbow up and forward. Left elbow pulls down. It's almost like your elbows are pulling apart. Tuck the head in. Twist. Breathe. Keep that left elbow reaching for the right ankle, pulling the shoulder blade with it, and right elbow coming up and back to help you twist. And bring it back up. Good job. Okay, bring your blocks back. Last one here. Heel toe feet in just a touch. Lift your outer foot so that you're all on the inner foot. Keep the inner heel down. Hug the knees in. Suck your low belly up. Blocks pretty close to you. It's like your belly's sucking up, folding you in half. Push with the hands to bring the ribs up. Now keep the knees hugged in. Try to drop your right hip and knee in and down. Left hip pulls back. And then bring it back. Switch. Left hip in and down. Good. And switch. Right hip in and down. This is a rolling through the front of the hips. You guys feel that? Come back to the middle. Now, unround your hips. Hips reach back, heels dig back, ribs come forward. Then re-round. Knees hug in. Pick your low belly up, pick your ribs up. Feel front of the hips a little. Unround, sitting bones back and apart, ribs forward, flatten the feet. Walk your blocks forward. Hop it in or heel toe it in. Good job. How are we doing? Good. Okay, blocks a little bit forward so your spine can be long. Come high onto the ball of your right foot. Then come to the tip of the right toes and roll over them. Make sure your metatarsals, the little bones in the feet, are parallel with the sides of your mat. And then try to hug your right hip back, straightening the leg, keeping that parallel. It's a big stretch in the top of the foot and maybe a stretch in the back of the hip too. Good, you feeling that? Good. And then bend the knee. Come forward. Do it again. Now you got those toes under. Pull the hip back. Stretch the top of the foot. Nobody stretches this. It hurts at first. And then bend the knee. Don't overdo it. Okay, come up to the tip of the toes and bend the other way for a second. Ankle forward. Get that feeling of really sending the ankle rounded forward here. And then bring it down. Good. Other foot. Come up to the ball of the foot. Ankle really forward, like your heel is trying to pass your ball of your foot. Then come to tips of the toes, then roll over them. Nobody stretches this part of the foot, so at first there's a strong stretch here. Keep your metatarsals parallel to the top of the mat. Don't dip either in any direction. Then hug your left hip back, trying to pull that hip back past the other one, straighten your left leg a little bit. Good, feel that stretch running up the foot and up the leg. Good, and bend the knee. One more time. Pull it back. And then let it bend. Okay, come up to the tips of your toes. Onto the ball of the foot. Ankles still forward. Stretching toes the other way. And then bring it down. So that's really tight or really hard for you. Probably sitting on the feet like this is also a decent stretch of your foot. Right? And this is a way to open that. Yeah? You guys feel that? Alright, good. Bring your blocks to the floor. Push them back behind you. Good. And go ahead and have a seat on your mat in front of your blocks. Excuse me. Alright. So, I'm going to do a little bit with the shoulders. And if you weren't able to do what we did earlier, this is a good start to get you to feel that. Make sure your blocks are lined up evenly with each other. Okay? And then make that L in your hand. Cup the inside corner of the block like that. That's what I was talking about earlier. The blocks crooked. Okay. Alright, keeping the L in the hand, cupping that corner like you're holding the corner inside the index finger and the thumb. The corner of the block should be right where the fingers fall over the front, and the thumb really can dig into the block. Feet close to hips, bring your hips under, so you're more on the back of the tailbone, or the sacrum even, okay, than your feet out in front. Okay. You should be trying for a 90-degree angle in the arm, so your upper arm is parallel to the floor. So not this, where your elbows are falling back. You got to be in front of it. Okay? From here, press through your hands until your arms are pretty much straight. Keep your head down. Keep your shoulders rolled forward. Now roll the shoulders back. Rolling forward. Keeping them rolled forward. Push down further so your head grows forward. Neck grows like a turtle growing forward out of its shell. Big stretch in hands, wrists, and forearms. Now roll forward to your sitting bones. Good. Roll shoulders back, opening the chest. Lift your chin just enough to let the chest open. Got it. Feel that? No, that's too much. Just pushing the back of the neck. It's just a little lift. Yep. Like your chin is reaching forward more than up. Then let your hips release and roll back, keeping the pressure in the hands. Lift your low belly. Then roll shoulders forward, let ribs sink back, the back rounding, then drop your head forward, chin in. Bend elbows out to the side, pulling the ribs out of the back of the hips. Chest. Feel that stretch in the back? Good. Do it again. Fingers, squeeze your block. Thumb squeezes into the block. Push into your hands to come up. Keep pressing until shoulders slide down the ribs. Roll forward on the sitting bones. Don't squish your low back, but don't roll too far forward. Roll the shoulders back, opening the chest. You only lift your chin enough for your collarbones to open and your sternum to lift. Lift your low belly. Now keep the pressure in the hands, pull your hips release. Hips will fall back. Then roll shoulders up and forward. Let ribs drop back, let your chin drop in, head forward. Bend elbows out to the sides, trying to pull your shoulder blades sideways off the back, opening. Good, then lean into your right hand, right elbow going right. Take your knees a little across your center line, not much. Knees go left, upper body's right. Now roll your right shoulder back, trying to open those ribs more. Good, and then roll it forward. One more time, roll it back, open the ribs, and roll it forward. Come back to the middle. Take your upper body to the left. Knees go just a little across the center line to the right. Roll left shoulder back, opening left ribs, and then roll it forward. One more, roll it back. Come back to the center, come in. Bring it all the way up. Good, bring your hands around the legs. Your knees are going to fit inside the crux of the elbow. Heels together, toes apart with the feet, making a little V with your feet, yeah? Okay, your left hand is going to hold your right hand. You're holding right on the bottom of the thumb knuckle and the bottom of the pinky knuckle, just below the wrist, toward the hand, so you can pull out of the wrist. Your knees are going to softly pull open into the inner elbows. And if you just keep holding with your left index finger and thumb, it's going to pull that right wrist open. Feel that stretch? Okay. Keeping that stretch, a little pressure in feet, suck the belly back, drop the head in. And if you keep the knees pulling open in the elbows, that's helping to pull your shoulder blades off the back. And then you use your core to pull your belly back, ribs back, and open the back muscles. Drop your head. Now go the other way. Pull with your elbows like you're pulling your knees into your chest. Shoulder blades slide together, head comes up, ribs come forward between the shoulders, and you roll up on your sitting bones. Good. Go the other way. Push with feet, roll hips under, ribs come back, knees pull open, elbows open, drop your head in. Feel the back open. Do it again. Pull shoulder blades together on the back, lift up your sternum, come forward. Good, and then round it back. Good, switch hand. Right hand holds left pinky knuckle and left thumb knuckle. Good. Pull your knees open into the elbows. That automatically helps you traction out that left wrist from the work we just did. Also engages your medial glute out here. So don't overdo that, but just feel a little bit of medial glute engaged. Then suck your belly back. So this is pulling hips apart, belly sucking back away from that. Think of a Kegel exercise, or if you're a male, pulling member up into the body, back into the body. Drop your head in. Your chin should feel like it's pushing sternum back. Shoulders roll up and over the ribs, forward. Breathe. Inhale. Exhale through your nose until you feel your ribs start to close deeper. Okay, now pull back with your shoulder blades. Come forward and up with your sternum. Roll to the front of the sitting bones. Knees are still pulling apart. Ribs coming forward. Good, and then roll back. Hips under, chin in, ribs back. Pulling that wrist out. Let your left wrist release so it actually gets a stretch. Come forward, shoulders pull together. Top of the head forward, and then start bringing the sternum up. And round back to where we go. Good. How are we doing? Good. Yep. All right. Let's get rid of your blocks. Okay. So a lot of people wanting to, well, not a lot of people, some dancers actually wanting to find a deeper split, but this is good for pretty much everybody in the hips. I want you to sit facing me in a split on your mat. I don't care if you have a split. I don't care. I've done this with an 80-year-old man. I don't care if your split is a V. That doesn't matter, okay? Whatever your usual split is, make sure your feet are on either pads or your mat, because we're going to be rolling on the foot, and that's going to start grinding in the heel. Whatever your usual split is, for this exercise, you're going to lessen it. So if you can usually come all the way into the 180-degree pose, sit back out of it a little bit, because we're going to go pretty deep. Okay. From here, first let's bring hands to the mat. Push the mat forward, roll to the back of the sitting bones. Sitting bones are under. They're still open though, don't let them close in. Then pull with the hands, roll forward. That may not be possible for you. That doesn't mean you can't do the next exercise. Do it again, roll back, low belly pull back. Good. Now keep your low belly pulled back. Bring your body over to, I guess it's your right, my left. Stay heavy in that sitting bone on the right, and then you're going to pull your belly forward, rolling until you start feeling this sitting bone heavy. This sitting bone lifts, and then roll that back knee forward and down. So if you're real tight in the hip, it's going to feel hard to get through this. You gotta let this go. It just means your knee will bend further forward. Your inner knee should touch all the way down the mat. Keep going. That knee to touch. Keep going. Keep going. Good. Front knee can bend and roll back. Okay? Now, pull your low belly out of both hips. Your back knee is stuck to the mat on purpose. Inner foot is touching down. Walk your hands behind the leg away from me. Softly pulling low belly away from that knee that's stuck to the mat. Feel that stretch in your psoas and hip flexor? On the left side, on this side. Okay? Now, your left shoulder, my right shoulder, I want you to bring your hand to the shoulder head. Roll that shoulder up and forward. Reach your elbow all the way out of the ribs, out of the knee. Feel that stretch? And then put your hand down wherever you can reach to. Good. Bring it back up slowly. To come back, your heel is your pivot point. Roll the hip back down to the mat. Good. This sitting bone touches down. Hands come across, belly goes across. Your other sitting bone starts getting light and the leg rolls forward. The tighter you are, the more this feels like an up and over that hump. Yeah. Then your knee touches down. Inner knee has to touch, inner foot should touch. Make sure your feet aren't clenching or flexing or anything weird. If anything, they're lengthening away. Okay, keep rolling forward. Think of your belly as coming over the thigh you're coming toward. Then bring your hands behind that leg and softly with your hands steer your rib cage back a little bit, pulling softly out of that. I guess it's the right side for you. Okay? Bring your hand to the shoulder head like this. Pull your elbow up and over. Really reach out of that hip. Your left shoulder can pull back a little bit, scooping under the ribs to push them to me. Yeah, feel that stretch in the ribs and the psoas. Bring hand to the ground. Good, come back to center. Stay heavy in the hip you're sitting on. Okay, and then let this one start rolling back. Let that heel be your pivot point. I heard a hip pop. Good. Keep this sitting bone heavy. Stay low. Keep your belly back but low. Lean the belly out over this quad. Roll the other hip forward and down. The front knee bends a little bit. Yep, back knee has to touch down. Good. From here, try to drag your belly forward, ribs forward a little bit. Then push with hands. Roll the pelvic bowl back on this side, on that front side. Back knee will feel like it's heavy in the mat, hopefully, and bending. Then bring your ribs back forward, lengthening. Bend the front knee a little bit. And then go back the other way. Chin in, accordion back. And then open your accordion to come forward. Guys, feel that in the hips a little? Do it again. Chin in, suck the belly back, roll back a little, and then roll forward. At the same time, you should be rolling on this IT band and the sitting bone, that little band of connective tissue outside the hip. When you roll back, you're kind of rolling back to the back side of that sitting bone, to the back of the IT band. And when you roll forward, bending the front knee, roll more to the inside. Good, feel that? Roll back, rolling across that stuff under there. Roll forward. Good, take your hands a little further into your twist. Behind you, away from me. Now do the same rolling. Roll the hips back. And then roll forward, lengthening out. Roll the hips back. Up, good. Roll forward. One more time. Roll back. Good, this time as you roll forward, pull with your low belly. Bring that left shoulder up and over forward and the right shoulder back. Just a little. Lengthening out of the hips. Pick up your low belly. And then come back around and roll back to center. Good. You guys feeling that? Yeah. Go the other way. Heavy in the sitting bone. Low belly comes across. The other sitting bone starts to lift. Roll through. All the way till the inner knee touches down. Try not to adjust where the foot is. I see a lot of people pull the foot back. If you pull your foot back, when you come back out of it, you're in a deeper split. Your legs are wider. So try to keep whatever your split is. When you roll, the heel is rolling on a pivot point and then it rolls back on the same spot. Right? Okay. Find that twist. Now, a lot of people also pull this shoulder back to the hip. That's killing your space. We want these ribs to come away. Yes, good. So let's play with that. Left hand into the mat next to you. Reach the right hand as far away as you can. Bend your left elbow in close to you and down. How long can you reach? Yeah. Feel those ribs open more? Breathe. Let your head drop. Release your chest. Good. Bring it back up. Feel the difference? Good. Okay. Now, from here, let's just frame the leg to start. Pull your low belly back. Trying to suck back a little bit. Keep the knee heavy. And then bring it forward. Do it again. Roll back a little. Pelvic bowl sits back a touch. And then forward. Bending the front knee. Rolling on this IT band a little. Roll back more toward the back of the sitting bone. And roll over. Bend the front knee a little. Roll back. Back knee bends a little. Let this medial glute and all this stuff right here that gets stuck release. Roll forward. Yep, roll back. Last one, roll forward. Now twist a little further, giving that stuff more space. Same rolling. Roll back. Roll forward. If you're stuck in that spot, bend your knee forward a little. Roll back. Roll forward. Last one. Good. Now stay in your stretch. Bring your right shoulder up to your jawline, left shoulder a little back, twisting softly, keep your core lifted. Try to feel that back knee is anchored to the mat and you're trying to really pull the ribs out of it. Good, and come back to center. Nice. Okay, so what this looks like ultimately when you've got your 180 degrees, rolling from a split back to a split. So that's what you're aiming towards. That's why you keep those heels in the same pivot point, so that you can do that rolling back and forth a little deeper. Yeah, you're getting closer. You can feel that? Good. Good. Yeah, 2 days in a row. Okay, now let's roll back to this side again. From here, pull your knee out toward your back hand. You should put to wiggle it in a little bit. Good. Okay, now I want you to keep all this mass, the hamstring, under the femur on the inside toward me. Okay, that is what we're going to focus on. You can bring the foot in a little closer, especially if you're not flexible in the hip. I want you to feel like you're leaning toward me, rolling across that stuff, and then roll back across it. So feel heavy. There's a lot of head muscle in here. There's a couple hamstrings, the bicep and the hamstring. There's your adductor magnus. There's a lot of stuff in here. I want you to start to differentiate. So stay heavy on it. Keep this on the ground, no light in there, and roll to me, and then roll away. Good. Feel that stuff you're rolling across? Keep doing it back and forth a few times. It's kind of like a self-massage. Okay? Kind of like, you know, if you've ever done anything with the foam roller, right? Feel that stuff roll back and forth. So imagine your femur like a rolling pin. You're rolling across that stuff toward me. You're rolling across that stuff away from me. Yeah. Feel that? Mm-hmm. Good. Kind of breaking up some of the, maybe you've got some scar tissue, some other tightness in the hip. Good. If you're having trouble finding it when you roll toward me, think of rolling on top of the back knee like you're coming toward pigeon. When you roll away from me, let the hip roll open. And that might help you find a little more range of motion, a little more movement there. Make sure this stays on the ground though. Okay. End rolled toward me. You don't have to be in full pigeon, but try to roll this toward the ground. See if you bring your elbows to the floor. If they can't come to the floor, bring them to blocks. Good job. Perfect. And if you're tighter, you might be behind the knee. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Okay, if you're looser, you're going to come more toward it. Good. Now we're going to do some of that same rolling from here. Push with your elbows. If you can't reach the floor with elbows, you're going to have blocks or something. Push with your elbows, chin in, pushing ribs back to roll you back. Feel that? Hamstring, hip in the ground. Then pull with elbows, ribs accordion forward. Get long with your ribs. Good. Chin in, ribs push the hip back, roll back. And then reach forward. Let's coordinate your breathing with that. Inhale here while you're long. Exhale, chin in when your accordion ribs closed. Exhaling all the air out. Then inhale, coming forward long. Giving the core space, the lung space. Exhale, ribs closing softly back. Elbows push you back. You don't pull with the hip. The hip is soft. Inhale, forward and long. Exhale, back. You should feel more room than you usually do in your pigeon. Come back forward again. Good. Open elbows. Bring forehead to hands or whatever your deepest stretch here is and breathe. Play with pointing that left ankle, lifting the low belly, rolling on the hip a little while you're in the stretch. A lot of different things you can do to make space. And bring it back. Good. You guys feel that? Mm-hmm. Open the foot. Roll back through center. Okay. And then roll to the other side. Bring the core. Bring your ribs. Roll heavy on the sitting bone and roll the other leg in, just like before. So really think about that ribs leading to bring the hip. Yeah. So as you get better at this, you should be able to just do it from the hips and ribs. Okay, ribs lead. All right, once you're here, little twist, hands come back, pull the ribs out of that back knee. Back knee is stuck. Front knee can bend a little. And good. Bring your knee back to the hand. You can use the foot to work it in if it's stuck. Okay, and at least be parallel. Don't be an obtuse angle. And if you need to be, you can come a little more closed than that. But if you close all the way, there's nothing, you can't roll here, right? So you have to have some space. Okay, and if you know you're really inflexible, sit further back, let this knee come a little out further. Okay, drag all of this tissue, all this muscle, underneath your femur on the inside. So if the femur's that rolling pin, that parallel line, I'm trying to get all that under stuff toward me. Yeah? Okay? Now roll across that stuff. Trying to get your femur to roll more and roll to the inside and roll back. Good. You guys feel that? Stay heavy on it. Think of your belly coming across the knee. Belly rubbing across that to come back the other way. Belly to knee, roll across that stuff, and then roll away. Good. You guys getting it? Yep. Should feel like you're starting to differentiate this massive muscle. It's not just hamstrings. There's multiple heads of hamstrings, adductus minor, there's lots, or adductus magnus. There's a lot of stuff in there that should be different, that should differentiate, that you should feel sort of rolling past each other. So imagine multiple little rolling wood slots or something that you're rolling across instead of just one big massive muscle. Okay, you guys feeling that break up a little? Okay, stay on the inside of it for your last one. Roll toward me. And then bring elbows to the ground or to your blocks or whatever. Good. It's a very modified feeling fidget. Same rolling with elbows on the ground. Push the elbows forward like you're pushing the mat away to roll back. Then pull with it. Ribs coming open and forward. Then chin in. Chin pushes ribs back. Ribs push the hips back. Elbows are the impetus for the beginning of the action. Then pull the ribs open, accordion open. Let's add breath while you're open here. Inhale. Exhale as the ribs close and you accordion back. Inhale as you open ribs back up. Exhale back. Turn off of you guys. You guys are forward. Stay forward. Inhale. Exhale back. Two more. Inhale forward. Exhale back. On your last one, you're going to stay forward, inhale, and then exhale, drop into your deepest stretch, forehead to hands or whatever it is. Play with pointing that, stretching ankle. Play with a little bit of pull from your low belly, maybe some baby rolls forward and back. Keep letting that hip release. Find your breath. Take 3 more breaths here. Bring it back. Come back to the middle. Bring your soles and the feet together. Knees open in Baddha Konasana. And just wrapping up there. Soles and feet together. Make a decent amount of space between pelvic floor and feet. Think 2 feet. Bring elbows in front of shins. The tighter you are, the actually easier it is to reach that. Okay? And then very softly pull back on the shins with your elbows. Try to make that come from the serratus, muscles under the armpits, along the ribs. And then think of your core as reaching forward. Low belly coming out of the front of the hips. Ribs are accordion forward. Now chin in, accordion, ribs back. Both feet pushing forward. Try to roll back behind the hamstrings, both of them now. Then accordion forward. Ribs forward. Top of the head forward. And then back. Same feeling we just had. Rolling across those sitting bones and hamstrings. Roll forward. Pull with feet a little. Push the mat toward me with your feet to roll back. Rounding. Roll forward. Come to your deepest stretch and breathe. Good job. How we doing? Okay. Turn sideways. Grab your orange bolster. Put it under the legs. And your purple ball for under your upper back. And if you're at home and you don't have a purple ball, you can just grab a bunch of pillows, or you can even use a bolster. And you can put that under the upper back where we're going to put the purple ball. Okay. Alright, so bolster under the legs. Purple ball pretty far back. We're going to put it between the shoulder blades. And then pop your hips forward to touch. Legs over your bolster. Keep the hamstrings on the inside. So your knees are open, groin facing the ceiling. Okay? Hands behind your head. Let your shoulders drop into the ball and then lay back over the ball. If your head doesn't touch the ground, hop back until it does. If it still won't touch the ground with the ball under your upper back, then you need a block or a ball or something for your head to rest on. Okay? Once you get your head to touch down, reach your arms back, interlace the back 3 fingers, make your little yoga gun, and really reach out of the sides. Shoulder blades sliding up the sides of the ribs. Low belly sinking. And roll back and forth a little on your ball. Inhale again. As you exhale, bring your little gun to the left. Try to roll to the right on your ball just a touch. And then switch. Gun to the right, ribs roll left. And back to center. Now bring your gun up to the ceiling. Try to slide your shoulder blades up to the ceiling, ribs in, and then drop shoulders back down. One more time like that. Pull your ribs into the ball. See if you can bring your head up, bend forward. Good, all the way forward. Ribs pull into the ball as your hinge point. Good. Don't close the front of the hips in and up. Keep those open and away. Keep resting into your ball. Hands are low. Gun is low. Slide shoulders back. And then slide them forward. Slide them back. Slide forward. One more time. Slide shoulders back. Slide forward. Reach hands to where the wall meets the ceiling. Same thing. Let your ribs rest into the ball. Slide your shoulders back. Feel those upper abs pull in. Core is long. And slide shoulders forward free. Good. Now reach the arms behind the head and neck. See if you can lengthen. It'll be working your core and a little on the sides of the neck. And then lay all the way back so your head can touch down. Use your hands to pull your neck longer. Pull the base of the skull longer. And reach out. Good. Bring your hands to your head. Interlace the fingers. Pick just your head up. Ribs heavy in the ball. And then slowly round up. Good. Heels dig into the mat. Pull by bending your knees. Hips come forward. Roll forward until the ball is just under the upper back, like your shoulders. And you're going to drop the neck back over the ball. The neck should follow the contour of the ball with your neck really long. Cervical spine long over the ball. And then arms reach back. If your ribs are stuck down and you're like squished here, you're not back far enough. You need to hop back over the ball so your ribs can open when you reach neck long. Legs are over the bolster. Let the arms come out to the sides and just rest in that chest stretch, shoulder stretch. Let your ribs be free to move when you breathe. Bring your arms back. Make that little yoga gun again if you want, and really reach until ribs come up. Inhaling. Exhale. Hands back to the head, pick it up. Last time hopping forward. This time you're going to come forward until the ball is only under the neck and the back of the head. It's only under the cervical spine. Okay? Then bring your arms up, palms facing in. Your thumbs reach out a little bit, like the checker thumbs, trying to open the front of the shoulder and outer spiral of the arms. Let elbows bend a little, and let your shoulder blades completely drop to the mat. Arms are pretty wide. Let the arms drop back like that. Softly pressing chin back, neck back. Pulling low belly out of the front of the hips, stretching the shoulders and the neck. Breathe easy. And then slowly drag your arms back up. Try to make it happen from underneath, from the serratus, keeping neck back. Good. And go ahead and get rid of the ball. Actually, one more here. Bring your bolster up to the hips. Just going to do that single leg happy baby. Pick your hips up. Put your hips on top of the bolster. See if you can keep head into the ball and hop your hips further back. Maybe the ball needs to go further back. Okay, bring the knees in one at a time. Arms inside the legs, hands come under your heels. Okay, tip to the left. Bring your right foot down to the mat. Bring your right arm back, the same way we just dropped it behind the ball, wide and back. Okay, get that right foot to touch down, bring the knee across to the left, feel that stretch in your hip. Slide the foot out and reach it away. Push your neck back a little bit, chin back into the ball, but pull your low belly out the front of that hip. Breathe and reach. And bend the knee out to the side when you bring it in. Knee goes outside the hip. Good, hand under the heel. Switch. If that's too hard, you can take regular happy baby hands where the hands come on top. Okay. Tip to the right, let go of the left leg. Try to bring that foot to the floor. Let the foot rest on the floor, or maybe you need a block there. Left arm drops back, chin back, neck back. That should help you pull your ribs open out of the front of that hip a little. And then left knee goes across to the right, stretching the hip. And slide the foot out, reach into that stretch. Breathe. Pushing the neck back into the ball again will help you make a little bit of pull out of the low belly, out of the front of the hip. Slowly bend the knee, bring it back in, bring the knee out to the left as you come in. Okay. Bring the feet to the mat one at a time. Push the bolster to the tip of your tailbone, just barely under the tailbone, rounding your low back and pull the knees back in. Pull your knees into your armpits, keep them open. Keep the right knee into the right armpit, on the right side of your ribs, let the left hip drop open, left knee drop open. And then roll the other way, just stay loose. Left knee into armpit, right leg dropping open. Switch. Right knee into the armpit, left leg dropping open. Switch. Keep hips moving freely and separately. We did a lot of work to separate them. Good, and back to the middle. Push the bolster out from under the hips. I like to put it under the calves for your corpse pose. You don't have to. And then you can get rid of your ball if you want. Lay flat. Final resting pose. Let's inhale. Reach the arms back. Let ribs open, but sink your low belly out of the front of the hips. Dropping the neck down. Chin down. And then bring the arms back up. Exhaling. And hands drop to the mat. Palms facing up. Breathe. Inhale, soft, but long. Try to let your eyes roll to the back of the head and into the middle of the forehead, like you're staring at the back of the third eye. Feel what that does to the muscles in the face and the head. Let your jaw release. That's not happening. Keep that gaze for your next breath. Inhale long and soft. Try to exhale, keeping that gaze, but let everything else soften. Keep that engaged, that gaze intended. One more breath like that. This time as you exhale and release, let the gaze release. Feel it spreading across the brow, across the bridge of the nose, across the base of the tongue and the jawline. try to spread the palms and the feet. You know, no longer focusing on the shoulder. Inhale long lift soft. Reach the arms up and back, overhead. Try to reach all the way out of the sides of the ribs. And then exhale, let it go. One more soft, long breath like that. Very good job. You make your way to sitting however you want. Stack the knees and hips. Roll to one side, stacking hips, ribs, and shoulders. Put it that way. Bring the top hand to the ground coming up. Or if you'd rather reintegrate your body, you can bring arms forward. Chin to the chest. Suck the belly down and roll up, and then lay over your bones. Good job, guys. How we feeling?
Good.
Very good job.
I like those standing where you had one leg here and one here.
Foot turned in and the
Yes,
other one
I
out.
like that a lot.
Yeah, that helps a lot of
That really
people.
helped my hamstrings.